All software is powered by data. Data may sound like an abstract or complex idea, but it's really just information. It's the stuff that your project is about. Products, locations, staff, images. Spreadsheets and databases are the best way to organize and think about data, so Glide lets anyone build software from spreadsheets and other data sources. The data editor is where you manage your project's data. After you connect a data source, you can edit in the data editor or wherever the data is stored. Everything stays in sync. Before you start a project in Glide, it's useful to think about the structure of your data. In other words, what your project is about. If you're making something really simple like an employee directory, it might only have 2 tables, one for staff and another for locations. But if you're making something to do with inventory management, things could be a lot more complex and you could have a lot more tables. Within each table, every column should have a name. These column names describe the properties of your items. It's okay to leave certain cells empty, but it's best practice not to leave big gaps between rows and columns. Basic columns are columns that simply contain data. They're the same as the ones that might live in a spreadsheet. Any new column you make in your data source will become a basic column in Glide. Glide will look at the data in this column and assign a type to that column. For example, if you add a number column, you'll be able to format those numbers. Or if you add an image column, we'll show you the image thumbnails, and you can even upload your own. If you want to change the column type, you can click on the drop-down menu and change it. And you can create new basic columns at any time with the New Column button. In addition to the basic columns, Glide adds a special type of column called a computed column. There are some things that apps and websites need to do that aren't possible with spreadsheets alone. So computed columns add new concepts on top of your data source to allow you to structure and connect your data in useful ways. For example, the distance column calculates the distance between 2 locations, and the template column lets you replace parts of your text with unique values from each row. You can learn more about these in our documentation. One of the most important computed columns is the relation column. After playing around a little bit with screens and components, most people realize that they need to create relationships between things. For example, allow tasks to belong inside of projects, show employees inside of departments, put inventory items into categories, or make rooms belong inside of buildings. Databases like Airtable allow us to create relationships like this, but normal spreadsheets don't. Wherever your data is stored, you can use the relation column to create relationships, and then use those relationships in lots of different ways. Now, if you're new to Glide, relations can be a bit of a tricky thing, so we're just going to introduce the idea here. There's lots more content on it in our university to help you master this important concept. To learn more, head over to glideapps.com/learn.